White Walker perpetuated offenses are considered especially heinous. In Westeros, 4 dedicated friends investigate and discuss these vicious episodes as members of an elite squad known as A Podcast Has No Name.
I'm Afro.
I'm Ambush.
And I'm Morg, and we are A Podcast Has No Name. Ba, 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 ba. So tonight we're talking about Joker and Joaquin Phoenix. Forever alone in a crowd, failed comedian Arthur Fleck seeks connection as he walks the streets of Gotham City. Arthur wears 2 masks, the one he paints on for his day job as a clown, and the guise he projects in a futile attempt to feel like he's a part of the world around him. Isolated, bullied, and disregarded by society, Fleck begins a slow descent into madness as he transforms into the criminal mastermind known as the Joker.
That's a really good synopsis. Man.
I didn't write it.
You should have took credit for it. You should have just took credit for it. Should have rolled with it.
Next time.
So yeah, let's jump into initial reactions. What'd you guys think of the film, like, overall?
Love. Obsessed.
Nice.
I knew that it was like going to be the film for me. Like, I am not quite the, like, I go see Avengers, I go see all of the movies just, because I'm in the know. I want to be in the know. I want to know more. I want to have an opinion. Boom. But I really, really fuck with movies that are, like, super cerebral, that are, like, a character study, that gives that whole, like, breaking down somebody's, like, mind and, like, how they got to be where they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was, like, perfect for me. Like, yes, let me know why your shit is fucked up. How you get there,
Right.
I don't need to see you next to Batman and all of these other things happening, and, like, this is, like, exactly, like, it's like they made it for me. So I loved it.
Dope.
Yeah, I agree. On so many of those points, this is definitely, when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't matter if I hear that this is a bad movie. I'm seeing it. Like, this is right up my alley. This is exactly what I'm here for. I love, like Aph said, a character study. I love to know someone's origin. And this was such an interesting take on Joker that it made it for me able to really separate all Jokers and allow them to live as their own. Like, I thought maybe, a while ago when it was like, oh, this is a new Batman movie with a new Joker, that I would get tired of that. Like, that's not going to work for me. But this really solidified that people can make that character their own, and that can live on its own. And now I understand why there's so many fucking multiverses and stuff, because you need to be able to have all these different stories for these people. It makes it so much more interesting. How about you?
So this is part of their DC Black Label. It's overall, DC has always been darker, more like, written for adults. And you can see that with some of the other animated stuff. Well, some of the animated stuff they've done in the past. Joker existing without Batman in stories by himself has worked time and time again. Joker is so interesting of a character that there's a book, and I wish I could remember the name of the book, a graphic novel that I have. And the graphic novel is written from the perspective of one of his henchmen. And the entire story is from that henchman's perspective. So there's times when he interacts with Batman, and there's times when he interacts with Joker, but you barely see Joker throughout the book, but it's totally about him. So, I mean, he's such an impactful character that once I saw, the casting and the direction involved with this, the fact that there would be no Batman in it, I said, okay, this is gonna be some crazy shit. and and I was just for it. I was really for it. And yeah, so once it happened and once we saw it, I was like, okay, all right, they delivered. So there has been possible talk of like sequels and expounding on this universe. I don't think they need to. I think what they gave us was good, great. They can move on to something else now, like completely. This was really good. Yeah.
I totally agree. I don't want to see like a follow up from this, and I feel like there's going to be a bunch of pushes in that direction, because so many people, and not to jump ahead, but so much of the criticism has been like, oh, you didn't even really get that much of the actual Joker. And so people are going to be pushing to, like, I want to see him, like, as the evolved Joker. And, like, I don't need that. I feel like we've gotten that enough.
We know who that is.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of movies you can watch for that.
Like, and so, yeah, I agree.
Cool.
Leave it where it is.
All right. So let's jump into a quick summary of the characters. Top of the list, opening up the film, the young hoodlums. Now, we've seen them in all the trailers picking on him, and he's chasing them down the block. I did not expect to see that scene get as brutal as it did. But I feel like in doing so, it really set the tone for the film. What do you guys think about them?
Oh, there was some fucked up kids, you know. At one point, I was like, why the fuck is he chasing them? He needs to just let that shit go. But I think it was referenced at some point that, like, if you let them do that, then they'll, you know, there's no stopping them. And I agree. I think we also needed to see somebody, like, really, you know, fuck him over in a sense where he would just get frustrated and tired of being beat up and tired of doing nothing while he was being beat up, in order for him to handle it differently in later situations. So I feel like they really served a purpose in that.
Agreed. I should not go after Afro. She's saying everything I think.
Go first.
I was super disturbed. I'm going to keep following you so I can just take everything you said. I was super disturbed by just how fucked up those kids were. Simply because it just didn't seem, I don't know those kids. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't.
Right.
Yeah, like, I don't know the kid. Like, that was never something, even the baddest of my friends were not, like, stealing from someone, getting them to an alley and beating them the fuck down. That was a lot. Yeah, so I just didn't know those kids. That was hard to, that was just disturbing, I guess. And I do understand the purpose it plays. I understand giving us the visual to, I'm beaten up every day, essentially, you know. So yeah, I was here for it, but also disturbed by it.
Yeah.
So now we get to jump into Arthur Fleck. MJ, why don't you start with that?
Oh man, what a complicated cat, guys. So this is in the 80s. I don't really know that the verbiage was the same or happening yet of, like, you know, what kind of mental illness would lend itself to being who he was. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, I don't know if they I don't know. Anyway, they just treated everybody that what they considered crazy as the same, I guess is what I'm getting at. So, like, you can tell that he's trying to do something. He's seen a counselor, maybe, like, that whole situation of social worker. Thank you. He's getting help, but also getting zero help because of what the system is. And it's supposed to be, you know, journaling and thinking through his feelings and all of this stuff when really no one's listening to him. And that's the biggest problem, is that he feels invisible. So he's an isolated loner. I We get lots of different stories from him throughout this movie, but he is unreliable because he is whatever he is undiagnosed with.
Right.
So you don't know what's real and what's not, and which makes me question everything. Like, did those kids ever beat him up? Or was
Mm.
Oh,
that,
interesting.
like, did that happen? I don't know. There were certain things that they made clear that did or didn't happen. But I feel like there was definitely questionable stuff that they just left up to us. So anyway, he's a loner and he lives with his mom, and he is disassociated and disconnected from the world around him.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Rough life.
I'm happy you touched on not being able to tell what did and didn't happen. I watched a couple review videos, and they referred to him as the unreliable narrator of his own story.
That is a great. Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's it.
So the only issue I had with a lot of the reviews that are happening now is because of the unreliability of his narration. They're like, did things play out in the end the way we really saw it? You know, the city going crazy, and him standing on top of the cop car, that moment of celebration, and what really
Yeah.
happened in the asylum. Did all these, or was the whole movie, someone even said this, or was the entire movie him just sitting in that room in the asylum being interviewed and then
Sure.
killing that woman? And I'm just like, okay, I'm not ready for that much, guys. Just let me just have the movie, all right? Jesus.
Yeah.
They purposely showed us what he made up on his own. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah,
They
which I
want to go
mean, I think
Inception
for
all the
me
time.
was part of the beauty of the movie. Like once there was that reveal that Sophie, aka Zazie Beats,
Hello.
didn't really like fall for him, and they didn't. Which the whole time that was kind of questionable. I was like, okay, she just knocked on the door and said, "Are you following me?" And now y'all gonna hang out? Like that's not really what black
Y'all
women
go
do.
together now?
Yeah,
No.
exactly. But
Wait, you
I was
said that's not
feeling
really what
like,
black women say that again? I want that on the record.
yeah, that's not really what black women do.
Let me tell you
Like,
something. I saw the movie with a black woman, and the entire time she kept saying, "How is this happening? She said, "How are they a thing? How are they a thing?" No, I'm not.
It can't be a thing.
She was enjoying the movie
that
so much that was the one thing that was fucking her
that
up.
was just yeah. You're like how are they making? How did he just knock on the door and now they kissing? Like,
He made a joke about having a gun, and she was like, ha ha ha, okay, see you later. No, no.
exactly,
But is
exactly.
but isn't that
Like there were
awesome?
so many things that were off with that relationship that
Right,
you were like, how is this going on? Like, all right, fine, I'm gonna suspend myself and let my mind go into
right.
space if you want me to.
Right.
But that, like I said, that was part of the beauty of it. Once they did the reveal of that all of that was not real and that he was delusional in this way and that we were living in this space with him, I was even more into the movie. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
fuck yeah, we full on crazy now. I am
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so for me to have this sort of like, for that film, I didn't want a pretty bow at the end. I didn't want him to meet Harley.
No.
I want him to, I didn't want to fast forward to 20 years later and he's with Batman in the shootout. I didn't
Nah.
want some like, oh, here's a cliffhanger. Now we're going to see what they do in the second movie. I didn't want any of that. So, like, to give me, like, more of that, more questions is, like, perfect. Like, yes, let's sit here and just continue to, like, work through this circle. And I feel like we said with, why can't I think of the name of the movie now? Us. Like, movies like that make you like have conversations with people about it and that bring up like that make you want to read reviews, that make you want to like watch review videos and look for Easter eggs. Like those are the best movies to me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
genius, like brilliant level kind of movies. So I'm happy to like sit in this like what was real and what wasn't real space with the movie.
Yeah.
Because I think that makes amazing movies.
I think that part where he cracks the joke about having the gun, and she laughs and walks off, and he closes the door like, I just said the smoothest shit I ever could have said. And then he dances off. The fact that didn't happen, but in his mind, that was some pimp player shit.
That's how it played out.
That's how, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that was, ooh, like, whoo, I'm gonna hit her with the gun line, B. Ooh, I'm gonna kill it. Like, what? That's, like, dude, like, so then, again, if there was ever a point in the film where people felt like, so are we really seeing the Joker? Like, they gave us enough Batman Easter eggs. I didn't expect them to give us the parents getting killed. Like, that's the origin. I did not expect that. But the fact that they went that far, that's enough, guys. That's enough. You don't need any more Batman in here. You're fine. Chill the fuck out. So now I'm allowed to imagine this Joker in that universe where, okay, like you said, there's shootouts and they're interacting. So there's moments when I can think about it and wait, this Joker that we know, he's creating situations in his head that aren't ever existing, aren't ever happening. Like, we knew he was crazy because he was doing crazy things. But now we know the extent of how crazy he is. Like, oh, you're just not here, bro.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
A lot of your decisions are fully justified.
I saw in one of the reviews that I watched was like, we always have Batman as this anchor for Joker that like helps reinforce morality. That's like, oh, Batman is telling us why whatever the Joker is doing is wrong and how it's harming the city and how it's an impact. And so you're always like looking at him as like this villain that's anchored by the morality that is Batman. So to see him completely without that, which is exactly what you're saying, is like, oh, no, you're gone. I got you. You're not just like, oh, I'm a villain out here. I'm trying to like, bargain with you for these people. And I'm just like this witty Joker who has jokes because that's my name. That's what I do.
Right.
It's like, no. You actually like, oh, you have some brain damage from whatever, and you have this condition that makes you laugh this way. And that was the other thing I really appreciated about, we could do a whole show about Joaquin Phoenix separately.
Bruh.
Yeah, for real.
He fucking murdered that shit. But
yeah,
the laugh, like the way that he developed that whole, like, the Joker laugh, like nothing like any of the Joker laughs that we've heard in the past.
No.
And just giving that its own thing of like, this is the laugh of a, mentally ill person who is going through this space, and it evolves later into whatever y'all want to, whatever laugh y'all know him to have.
Right.
But this is the origin. Like, even the laugh has an origin. Like, it was just crazy.
Yeah. Like suppressing the laugh was him suppressing, that other side of himself. So now that we see him as a fully realized character, and the way he laughs is like, oh, he's not laughing. The jokes that he's laughing at has nothing to do with what's going on around you guys.
Right.
He's not laughing because he got a shot in on Batman. He's laughing at some other shit. Like some jokey none of us are getting. That's what he's laughing at. So speaking of the abuse,
but I definitely empathize with Arthur. I felt sad for him.
Yeah.
I felt like, I think you said, Morgan, like he was trying, what I'm saying? He was seeing a social worker. Yeah, he was a little sassy with her. His mom was an anchor for him. Like, once she became ill, you could see shit just like completely spiral for him. Like it was already spiraling, but when he didn't have to come home and like check the mail and like all those things that you see in the routine of somebody that helps them,
stay grounded. Yeah.
Mom, right. Like people like babies need a routine, babies need a schedule, and like it's true. When I like just go off the whim, Cash is like, what the fuck is going on around here?
Right. What is this, woman?
What is this woman? Like, it's my nap time. Why are we out in the street?
Don't you know that?
You messing up.
Exactly. So, yeah, so to see, him, kind of like what his life was like when he had the routine, when he had a schedule, he had a job, when he had all those things. And, I was with him. Like, some people thought it felt slow, but I was there. I'm like, okay, I'll go to work with you another day. I don't mind,
Right. That's interesting that some people.
And so you really got to see, like, how that all kind of, like, fell apart. And so I don't think there's any other scenario in which I have empathized with the Joker or even cared to give him, like, a name other than the Joker, know? Like,
right.
It really made him a person, and that was, like, really dope to me.
I think it's interesting that people thought it was slow. I mean, I expected it to be slow. I did, but everything moved at a pace that made sense for me. Like the descent into quote unquote madness, it wasn't fast. Like we saw things build up throughout the film, and there wasn't a time when it felt like things were dragging out at all. Like there wasn't this dating montage or any of that. Like everything happened as it was supposed to.
Well, let me tell you something about these people, okay?
These complainers.
There are a group of people in this world who do not look at trailers, okay? They just go see films. They make all kinds of assumptions and presumptions. There are people that watch trailers and still make up in their mind, what's going to happen because this is like a DC or a Marvel or a whatever. Mm-hmm. There were people that went to see Black Panther and were disappointed that it wasn't about the Black Panther movement in California.
Accurate.
So thank you all for listening to another episode of
Accurate.
Because you're so right. We can't go on. You just have to end on the highest note. Bruh, that is so real. I forget that people were so upset about that.
Yeah. They were salty.
I couldn't even believe that exists. I was like, wait,
right.
What?
Like, nah. Who told their grandma that this movie was coming out?
Like, where was y'all at?
I can't think of a movie that I have seen in the theater that I have not watched a trailer for. Number one, the movies are expensive as fuck. Okay.
Hello.
So we are really prioritizing how we're.
Yeah, we got to know where this money is going to go.
Right.
These are like $15 tickets, $15. Like, come on.
Right.
Damn, your boys went out of business. Movie Pass. What
happened?
No,
I know.
See,
you know what?
They keep up either.
Yo, they was like, it's a wrap, B. It's a wrap.
Pie in the sky.
They had to shut it down. Meanwhile, Regal is trying to do a monthly joint for $30 a month. Are you out of your mind, bro? Get out of here. It's not working. But real quick, real quick, going back to the Black Panther thing. You are correct. There are people that went to this movie thinking they were seeing a movie about the Black Panthers. This is where I'm confused. Maybe you didn't see a trailer. I'm sure you saw a poster, though. Like, you saw a guy in a suit, a bodysuit, and you still thought it was about the Black Panther
Party. But it was
Party.
black.
What version?
That he had evolved.
Right.
It was just evolution.
Is this Black Panther Party in the future? Like, what version of the Black Panther Party that you know is associated with some guy in a black and blue costume? I want to know. Is this some Afrofuturism version? What were you thinking?
I really, like, jeez. I can't even get my mind to think that way, so it hurts, So, like,
it's a rough go.
I mean, you out there in Oakland, you know what I'm saying? You on the ground in Oakland. Let us know. What was they thinking?
You on the ground.
That was the most confusing part. It was people here in Oakland.
No. Don't try and make us buy that. No.
I heard it. I was like, wait, what?
Like, y'all, you could not mean that.
They was like, I got this dashiki on for nothing? Yes, brother. Yes, you do.
Exactly.
You do have it on for nothing. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy.
Going with different expectations than, like, they didn't do their research, their homework. They ain't even lightweight look at a trailer. That's easy. That's not even research. That's
not research.
If there was a way to know what percentage of that $1 billion came from people that want to see a movie about the Black Panther Party? I want to know.
Yeah.
I want Skynet. I want,
We need the stats.
5G, whatever technology y'all need to put in place. I will sacrifice my freedoms. I want to know. Tell me.
Oh my God. I will sacrifice my freedoms.
I won't go that far. But...
You see how I tried to end this episode already? I'm going to have to do it again, obviously.
Right.
Amber's talking mad crazy.
All right. Speaking of mad crazy, Mama Fleck.
Mama Fleck.
She's one of my favorite actresses.
Mama.
She's one of my favorite actresses.
Here with the real news. That's me.
So we all knew something was a little off from her, right?
Yeah.
Oh, from the jump.
But that's who she plays.
Letters. He's taking care of her. They got this codependent relationship. You see that off the break.
Yeah.
Yes.
The casting was done so well. She always plays someone that's a little off. Just a little off.
Yeah, she does. She's so cute.
She does such a great job at it.
Oh, nailed it. Yeah, so I was concerned about her throughout because she did seem a little off from the jump, very frail. That, that was also a concern of mine.
Well, and we didn't know what was wrong with her.
Yes.
It was just like you knew she was being taken care of, but you didn't know for what. Do you have like cancer, or are you paralyzed, or
And then she did hit him with the zinger about him, she said he's going to be a comedian.
She hit him with legitimately a mama ass line too. Like,
it was such a mama line. You're gonna be funny, baby.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna be great at whatever you do, but don't you think maybe you should be funny for that?
Try your hand at being a little funny, baby.
Aren't you a clown right now? Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
You're a clown, but you ain't funny. Like, God damn.
Yeah. That was pretty awesome. So I thought, I did think something was going to happen to her. I thought she was going to die, like get sick and die or something like that. But I knew that the moment that she died, his shit was just going to fall all the way apart. I knew. I was very into the fact that she was the anchor for him. And so I was really surprised at how things played out. Do we do spoilers here? Like, what do we do?
Go all in.
Yeah.
Listen, you shouldn't be listening to this episode if you ain't seen the movie.
If you ain't seen the movie. Okay,
right.
Exactly. All right.
That goes in the description.
Jump ahead.
Hey,
Feel free to jump ahead.
Like,
you better go. Right? Yikes! Yeah! Shout out to that motherfucker.
Yeah. Yes, to jump ahead. Okay. Yes.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Right, back on track.
I would say tell the story, but we're not gonna play our viewers or whatever you call them. So I'll just say yikes. Anyway.
Yikes.
So I didn't think he was gonna kill her, but I did think something was gonna happen to her. She was gonna get sick and die, or just whatever.
Right.
And I knew that once that happened, his world was just gonna like slowly crumble. So I really appreciated the way that they did it, where it was like, he found out that she had some mental illness of her own, and that she was delusional, and that she was lying or delusional. You know what I mean? Like, whatever.
Right.
And
that is a fine line, right?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Right.
It's not lying, but they think it's true.
But he figured that out, and then she had stood by while he was abused. And so when that happened, he was like,
oh, right.
Yeah.
And that was dope, too, because, like you said, I expected her to be, the catalyst for him to go off the rails. I did not expect him to be the one that killed her. And then also the way he did it, it wasn't like he came to the realization and it just wigged out. it didn't happen that way. It was like, oh, okay, and this is the conclusion I've come to, and I'm just gonna take you up out of here real quick.
Just calmly handle this scandal, and I'll move forward.
Which to me made it that much more scary. Like this dude, like, whoa, man.
No, it was like he found the comfort zone. Oh, right. You don't need to be alive. And it was such a calm decision of like, oh, okay, well, I'll do that part. Like, it was wildly calm.
Man.
I agree. That makes it scarier to me.
Yeah. Do we have any more on Mama Fleck, or should we move on to the main man? Should we move on to the Joker?
We can move on. I mean, I guess what were you gonna say, Morgs? Go ahead.
No. I have nothing else.
Okay.
Let's hit Joker.
Woo. All right. MJ, I'm gonna let you take this first. I don't want to run over all the different points that I think I might hit.
No, I think I went first for Arthur. You go for it. Yeah.
Lord. Listen. Listen. I already told Morgan this. When he got introduced and that curtain opened, I said, it's a wrap. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for has arrived. This nigga, the Joker, is here, and that's all we're going to see. Wait.
So let me ask you this. I'm so serious, but I'm also.
I can tell you are.
Right.
I'm so sincere. Oh, shoot.
Okay, so you mentioned the curtain. So for you, was that the moment where the Joker came to be?
Oh, yeah. That was it. Because that was his dream.
When he was on the talk show and he lifted the curtain.
That was his dream meeting his reality. And I'm like, this is it. When he asked Murray to introduce him backstage as Joker, I was like, okay. All right. Okay. But then when it happened and he started doing his little dance and the curtain opened, I said, oh, it's a wrap. Our guy is here. Our guy is here.
I felt like he became the Joker in that bathroom that he ran into.
Yep.
He started doing that dance.
Agreed.
Okay.
That's where that was for me. The transition was full after he killed the 3 bankers, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, oh, he's home now.
Exactly.
Yeah, it felt like he finally had some sort of peace. Like he was just like, yep, I found it. There's my niche.
There's my niche.
Now, granted, he didn't have on the outfit.
Right.
So I can see how for you it might have been at that. Okay.
Yeah. And that scene where he shoots the talk show host on the show, that actually played out in an animated DC film where so you saw that, right? That was dope. Like the Joker was locked up and he'd been in there for so long, and his psychiatrist was like, okay, he's totally rehabilitated now. We could take him out into the public and he's totally fine. And the talk show host was like, I think it was supposed to be like Conan O'Brien, supposed to be a version of Conan, and killed him right there on TV. And I was like, oh wow, okay, totally forgot about that. Yes, this is this is dope. That's ill. But yeah,
wow.
I didn't see him shooting. I didn't see that coming. It happened really quick. I didn't see him shooting Murray. I wasn't sure what he was going to do.
I was like, ooh. That was the one moment where I just curled up in my seat. I was so shocked.
Yeah, completely.
I had multiple moments of my mouth being open for a very extended amount of time, just like, what the fuck?
Yo, the gun falling out in the hospital?
Yo, my mouth was open for a solid 2 minutes. Because, what? Why do you have it? You have on a clown outfit. Does it have pockets? Like for real?
It's part of my
act. Have real pockets?
It's part of my
No.
act.
My man said it's part of my act.
It's
Yo,
part
it's
of
a
my act.
real gun.
Right.
Why is that a part of your
That
act?
nigga did the little thing with his finger over his head.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like, don't worry, guys. It's fine. It's fine. I just have a gun. It's no big deal.
Like,
Oh,
my
God.
man, you with cancer patients, B. Like, what are you doing?
Right. What
Oh
could
my
possibly
God.
be your reasoning?
Oh, it was so good. That was so good.
So, yeah, I agree. I had some real mouth open moments in the movie, too. Jaw drop.
And then
Jaw dropping.
the end where he's walking and you see the blood trailing behind him. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
this is beautiful.
That was really well done. Oh, my God. That's like... And that, I think, too, like, I mean, at some point we can talk about the cinematography because that was just... It was just beautifully shot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sheesh. All right. Next, we have the unbelievable girlfriend, Sophie. Zazie.
Incredibly unbelievable.
They should just keep
completely and totally.
whenever they cast her, they should change the character's name to Zazie. It's
Agreed.
Zazie.
just, you know.
It's just the best name.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really is. It
Yeah.
really is.
And she's incredible.
Yeah, she is.
She is. Did anyone else have an exciting moment of realizing that both her and Brian Tyree were both in the movie? And
Yes.
like, where's bring out childish Donald? Where
Right.
are you?
Where's Donald?
Right.
Enter
Just
the
bring
DC
him out.
universe, sir. Where are you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely was excited about that.
Yeah.
And I feel like I remember seeing that he was a part of this and then forgetting that he was a part of it. And so when he came on screen, I was like, oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
Wait.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's in both universes.
Yeah, he is. 'Cause
Yeah.
he's in Black Panther. Wait, is he? Wait,
No,
what
he's
else is he
he's
in?
about to
I'm
be
thinking of the wrong person.
he's in Eternals. He's one of the Eternals.
Oh, I don't.
Yeah. She said,
Haven't seen it.
yeah.
I was thinking he was what's his name from the other tribe, and
Oh, okay.
and then I was like, nope, that's the other sexy black man.
There's so many.
This is so many, you know. Y'all play. But yeah, like.
So yeah, Sophie I thought was really cool. I think I really love the way she acts. Like there's something about what she brings that is just like so natural and effortless and believable.
Yeah.
That you're like, yes, that is her kid. Yes, she's tired. She just got off work. Yeah, she, has this relatable kind of moment.
There
in
it
the
is.
Elevator.
There it is. Relatable. All her portrayals are relatable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought, oh my God, y'all.
What happened?
Saucy Kente's fucking message.
Oh, no.
Wait.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
What?
Fucking stop the call. Stop the call. We're
Saw
done.
Joker.
I'm done.
It was excellent, in my opinion.
All caps.
Oh, yo.
Oh,
Fuck
my
that dude.
God.
Yo. Yo.
Straight
No, we
fuck
have to
that
tell the
dude.
listeners why we're of this opinion. Because this is going to make it. This is in the episode.
I'm so upset right now.
Okay, Morgs, you gotta tell everybody why you upset. If
Are
we're
you
gonna
upset,
stay in the
B?
episode, we gotta.
Okay. Everybody, listeners, you know that we love Castro with our entire hearts, but he is
All
also
of
the
our
bane
being.
of my entire existence. And the reason why is because he does shit like this. I'm probably not going to see it because I don't want to see another Joker. Like, I've had my fill. Jared Leto really fucked it all up for me.
I have a
Yeah.
quote.
I'm
I think
exhausted by it.
with the characters, multiple
My
portrayals.
Yes.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. We don't even really prod this time around. Just like, okay, well, this is you're doing yourself a disservice, but okay.
Yeah. If they didn't do the Jared Leto one, I probably would be.
I'd probably be into it.
Castro.
Yeah.
This is a departure from
Jared
all
Leto.
DC.
Sorry.
This is a departure from
Oh,
all
he says
DC
Leto,
canon.
so you nailed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
He did. This is a departure from all DC canon. This is a whole new take. Do you want? I think you should watch it.
Yeah. I'm tired.
Yeah. And I know. And I started to like really go in. Like I said something about like the backstory, and that didn't go over well. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna let it go right here. But I feel like it's gonna be a phenomenal movie. But I'm not even gonna like fight.
But I guess I'll move on, right?
We've been here before, guys.
So,
with Thor.
Been here before. Pick your battles, friends.
Right.
That's really what it's about.
Yes.
So we don't. And then in our excitement of having this recording tonight, it was like, I might see it, but also not in time to do the call. So, okay, well, cool, because, all of this shit's optional. I guess you just do it whenever you want.
I mean, it is. It's kind of.
It is kind of. You're right. It is kind of.
Oh my god.
But this is like, I guess my point is this is what it's for. Like these movies are your movies. Like this is literally spoon feeding you an easy thing for you to discuss.
Yeah.
And you know what I started to text him? I started to be like, okay, but you're going to want to talk to someone about this once you've seen it.
Mm-hmm. Knowing good and goddamn well you need this decompress of everything that we watch. And here we are.
Nobody talks about it.
Near midnight in Philly, and he's just finished seeing an excellent film. Good for him.
All caps. Excellent.
It was excellent in all caps.
Give that man a round of applause.
Yeah, you got to put some applause in there.
Yeah. I'm time stamping it now.
Unfucking believable.
All right.
Okay, back to.
Sophie was relatable. I'm done with Sophie. Somebody else can.
Yeah.
In you saying that, what struck me was seeing her in Slice, which was a very campy horror film, and her character and Chance's character, very relatable and extremely hilarious. Especially Chance, the few times that he had speaking roles in the film. It was just hilarious. And like you said, it's something that she just brings to films when she's in it. She's relatable to the point that she's that voice of reason, which really speaks to the casting for Atlanta. Because there were times when she's opposite of Earl, and you're with her like, nigga, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like, what? Did you just try to race a football player? What is wrong with you?
No, that was the best. The best.
Oh, so embarrassing.
Like, money don't make you faster. I don't care how much bread you got on you right now. Like, what are you talking about? That's some crazy confidence. All right.
If that ain't a nigga with money,
man.
Like, you know what? I'm about to double up. Let's do it. Like that is
like, are you?
Oh, you got fast money? That's what you got? You got a different type of money? It make you okay. Cool. Can we move on to Murray? Does anyone else have anything to say about Sophie?
No, we got to move on, and we got to be quick.
All right, let's hop into Murray. Man, dope as hell. I mean, again, speaks to the casting. Now, there's another film. A lot of people have referenced it even before.
Taxi Driver.
Is it Taxi Driver? Okay, Taxi Driver, and then something of comedy. Is it King of Comedy?
The King of Comedy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a couple different tie-overs with some of the characters and things like that. So I need to see both of these films. Of
Scorsese movies.
Yeah.
I think King of Comedy is the one that is like the closest to this.
Okay.
But in Taxi Driver, there's still like parallels you can draw.
Got you.
And Taxi Driver definitely. Like I feel like that one is like, if you look at the evolution of the character and like of both of the main characters and the gun again, like this gun feeling like a character in the movie too. I feel like those are really. I haven't seen King Comedy, But from the couple like parallels I saw, I was like, oh yeah, because I think there is a whole thing where like he really envies a talk show host, and yeah, that's how we got here. You were just bringing that up. So, yeah.
So there was a moment where you were like, okay, he's not. Okay, so let me put it like this: there was a review I watched, and they said that because he made fun of Arthur by playing that video to bring him, like, not necessarily to bring him on the show, but because he made fun of Arthur that way, they were saying they think that's a departure from from reality. That a late night talk show host is in the business of wanting to be likable and wouldn't do something that mean. And I'm like, I don't know. I think it's a reach. I think that actually happened.
I don't know if that's true, because I did see some parallels between Murray Franklin and Johnny Carson, and do stuff like that. Maybe not as like curt, and like as sort of malicious, but definitely in like here's a curious person we'll talk about and talk to.
Right.
So it does happen. And when he got to Murray's show, Murray was very welcoming. He wasn't really trying to play him off the break, you know.
I think there's part of that is the way that feeling, people coming away having that feeling of like Murray being mean, is that they're empathizing so much with Arthur.
Okay.
In real life, think about like all of the shows that are late night shows. They make fun of people for a living, and they make it palatable for the rest of America to laugh at. That's what they do. So it's not mean in the context of not knowing that person's backstory. But when you know someone's backstory and you're like, oh no, this kid's been abused and completely disregarded by life. Like, don't make fun of him and his laugh. Like, that's the only reason why it's mean, is because people are coming away feeling bad for Arthur. So.
Good point. I think we can move on, unless someone has anything else. No, cool.
No, I found it interesting. I do have something else, sorry. At first I thought that Murray was just going to be on the TV in the movie. And so I was really excited when I was like, okay, Robert De Niro does have like a significant role. It was interesting to me to see Robert De Niro, someone of that caliber of an actor, just like playing a talk show host that you're watching on TV in a movie.
Yeah.
Right.
As opposed to like really being introduced as like another like real
major
part
character.
movie.
Yeah,
exactly. So so that was interesting to me.
All right. Next we have Ted Marco, who I do not remember. Someone remind me, who was Ted Marco?
Ted was he was Murray's sidekick or like show producer, and he was the guy who was like,
he was really short with
look,
him,
this motherfucker is like, so if anything, like his whole point in being there was like, do not let him on the show. He's crazy. He's wearing this clown mask. Look at him.
He wants you to call him
Joker.
Joker.
To me and it's my call, I'm not gonna let him go on the show. And Murray is the one who was like, nah, we gonna let him on.
So I guess Ted could kind of represent the resistance that let's do a deep dive. Ted could represent the resistance that Arthur faces in every aspect of his life. Everywhere he turns, there's someone telling him no and pushing him down. There we go. Ted Marco covered.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, he also just represents like just foreshadowing of like something bad is coming out of this. Do not do it.
Right.
And us empathizing so much, like you said, Morgan, with especially at this point in the film, we see him going crazy or over the edge. I don't want to just like generalize.
Use that word, yeah.
But we see him like on this slow descendance, but we're still already like so far in to empathy with him and on his side, like he is our character at this point. That we're like, no, you gotta let him on the show. Like, no, it's fine. Let him on. It's cool. It's cool. Like, we are cheering with him.
We're like, fuck you, Ted.
He is actually really like this voice of reason who's like, here are 4 reasons we should not do this.
Wow.
And Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad you put him on the list. That is so true. Ted was the voice of reason that we all were like, fuck you, Reason. Fuck you, Ted. Put our guy on. It's like, we've watched him kill people already. We've watched him kill people, and we're still like, put him on the show.
Including his mother.
Right. We know he brought a gun to the set. We've watched him practice, and we're like, fuck you, Ted. Get him on that show. Man.
I feel like I should be clear here for myself. I did not want him to go on the show.
Oh, okay. Oh no, girl! I full on wanted him to go on the show.
You were with
And
Ted?
I didn't empathize with him the way that I think most people did. Like, I cared about him, but not enough to. No, I did no. I did not want him to go. I didn't feel bad for him. Like, oh, he should get to go on. I was like, he's gonna murder everybody there. Like, this can't go well.
Oh man.
Oh, Morgan. No, they got me, girl. I was in there, okay? When we talk about white mediocrity and all that bullshit,
right.
I was like, yes to white mediocrity.
He deserves it. He deserves it.
He deserves it. He's earned it, guys. He's
earned it.
Meds. He don't have his meds no more. This is the city's fault. Fuck you, Gotham. I was all the way bought in.
Oh, my God.
I mean, I didn't think he should kill his mom. But everything else, like,
That's funny as hell.
I just want to remind everybody that he kills the first kill is his mom, right? Like that's
no. The first kill is the Wall Street guys.
Is the three? Oh, okay,
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So we're 4 kills in, and we're still like, you got to give him. You got to give him a shot.
Put him in the game, coach.
Put him in the game, coach. Yeah, he
not
just.
at all.
I will say, excuse me, and we'll get to this in a little bit. But he did let that little person go, which I did not think he was going to let him go.
So wait, this is 5 kills. I forgot about him. It's 5 kills in. Wow.
Yeah. He's 5 kills in once he goes on the show, but killing the other dude was after his mom because now he has the house to himself.
Right. He's a big boy now.
It was after his mom, and I do believe that man is probably still sitting there.
Oh, gotta be.
Oh, absolutely.
He's gotta be.
Absolutely.
He's gotta be. Yeah.
Like they didn't even pretend to address a cleanup. It was and that man lives there now.
Right. His ghost will haunt that apartment. This is where he died.
Yeah.
And it's over.
Oh
my God. Thomas Wayne. This is very interesting for me because in every portrayal of Thomas Wayne, he's been the philanthropist, benefactor to Gotham. He's always been doing the right thing. He's the one he's the dad every Gothamites ever wanted. And in this portrayal,
he wasn't punching
that's
nobody.
That's what they're called, Gothamites?
Yeah, Gothamites. In this,
okay.
In this portrayal, he's a piece of shit. But is he?
I don't think he's really a piece of shit. I mean, I think he gives us the reveal that, like, what's his name? That Arthur's mom is really, like, dealing with some mental issues.
Right.
And leads him to, like, look over, here's some information, look over here. And then he also punches him in the mouth, which he could have very well done in the beginning of encountering him because that nigga had just been in his house. Okay?
With his hands in his son's mouth.
All the way in his son's mouth.
Hands in his son's mouth and choking up Alfred. Was that Alfred?
That was Alfred.
Oh, yeah.
That was Alfred.
That was definitely Alfred.
Okay.
Did that make you...
Who's like a trained op, though, right? Like, we fucked up a couple of things.
Yeah.
That Alfred is like, stumbles upon young Wayne being face molested. Like, what the fuck?
Okay. All right.
I don't think that's a stretch.
No,
he put his 2 fucking full index fingers in that young man's mouth and widened that smile. Fam, you've gotten at least 7,000 germs.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. And he just stood there for it. That was...
Kids are strange, man. Kids are strange.
Rich kids, too. I just feel like rich white kids, they have a whole other way in which they roll. First of all, he's, like, playing in a full-on peacoat. It's like...
Right.
fully dressed up. and he's just like walking up and down, like you
And
know,
Arthur's wearing a
playground.
members only jacket, so it can't be that cold.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And then you just gonna let this nigga like reach in and put his hands. But there was an interesting thing in one of the reviews I saw where they were like that gate kind of represented like prison bars for like later in their relationship.
Okay.
Which I thought was interesting. I also enjoyed. I mean, we're talking about Thomas and Bruce at the same time. So for Bruce Wayne or Batman at this point in his life, I really enjoyed seeing the juxtaposition in their ages because you never really get that. Like in other periods, like they both grown-ass men and you don't really know, you know.
Right. Who came first?
Yeah.
Who came
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you get a feeling that the Joker's a little older, but like not really like, oh, like when, like you was a young boy when I got started in this shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't really like get that feeling. So I appreciated being able to see that with Bruce Wayne and with Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
As well
If
as
I can just
go ahead.
Sorry. If I could just throw in real fast about Thomas. I think the portrayal of him was purposeful to meet the narrative at the end where it's all of the downtrodden and the non-rich have that eat the rich kind of idea.
Yeah.
So he wasn't a bleeding heart philanthropist and who wanted to do everything right. He, like, whether that was just the way that Arthur saw him, because we're seeing it through the unreliable narrative, dude. But like, that was to me a clear portrayal of like, he was like, I'm going to run for mayor because, you know, like basically who else could do it? That doesn't give me confidence that you're there to do the right thing.
Right.
Like, that means you have money and you can like get through the hard parts of a campaign. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that. So he was portrayed as a different Thomas Wayne. Like that for sure was there.
Yeah.
Was it real? We don't know, I guess. But that idea of had to be planted somewhere. You know what I mean? That the rich really don't give a fuck about you. So that we could understand that whole rising up at the end.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, with you saying that, it makes me think about the city, because you're like, the rich really don't give a fuck, and how there's just this, like, you know, this whole thing between the rich and the poor. And the city itself, I feel like, was a character as well.
Oh, yeah.
And this
Always.
Oh, yeah.
is definitely like, okay, New York City vibes, Gotham City vibes, but like a different way in which you've seen Gotham in the past, and really like you were able to just kind of suspend yourself and like, oh, we're just in New York City, like whatever,
right?
You know,
Right?
Yeah.
We haven't seen this much of Gotham in the daylight for since Chris Nolan was doing it. Like it's very rare we see this much of Gotham as an actual city. And as far as the city being a character, this was during the trash strike had just started. So everything was just going downhill. Like it was just Oh man. Okay. So in an
the
effort
big rats.
Oh, bruh.
Super rats.
Yeah.
I did read that there was also like a subway vigilante in like the mid '80s too.
Yeah, but he killed like
Really?
homeless people. He killed people asking for money on the street.
Right.
Oh,
and,
wow.
And they were black, so people tried to connect it to a race situation as well, because I mean I'm sure that has something to do with it.
Right. Race
But
and
I
class.
found it interesting that there was actually a person that was killing people on the subway during that time as well.
Yeah.
Jeez. I'm gonna wrap everyone together as far as his work buddies, the clown, his work buddies, and his boss. Talk about his. Just talk about his.
man.
Let's talk about his employment situation there.
Yeah, that's a good
Whew.
idea.
Yeah.
Bruv.
Yeah.
Can I just say, like, I've worked in some depressing work situations before, and this was easily like one of the most depressing things you could see. Like, is this really real? Is there an office somewhere in New York that clowns go get dressed for the day and fucking hold a sign? My God. I mean,
lockers and everything. Yeah.
right?
Sure.
Like the whole thing was so depressing. And like the person who manages that, do they think that they're killing it? Like, are they like, oh yeah, I manage these clowns? Like, what is happening? I appreciate that everybody needs to work, and I appreciate that if there are people that are willing to do this, that they're there to do it. But like, fuck that all day, every day.
Yeah.
That is a real good way to go insane.
So I watched a little vignette, Vanity Fair joint with Todd Phillips, and he was saying that company, Ha Reynolds or whatever they called it in the film, it wasn't just clowns. They did clowns, magicians, and strippers out of the same company.
It's all the same.
Okay.
Yeah, this was
Stupid entertainment.
yeah, just
fair enough.
We do children and adult entertainment from Ha. Come to Ha for all your laughs and joy, and all of that.
Tight.
And he said when they were scouting locations, that was not a build. That room, all of that location is an actual location in New York. I forgot under what bridge he said. Mm-hmm. And when he looked out the window, when he saw the bridge there, he's like, this is perfect.
You did, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wild. Yeah.
I mean, I guess in terms of the people that he worked with, there was a black dude. We never really got to get too much into him. Mm-hmm. He was just like, did you really take a gun to work, like, to the children's hospital?
Like, you have your mind?
Yeah. There was the little person guy, which, I guess we can assume he was a clown, but we never saw him in anything. I kind of, felt like he maybe did some other office stuff, but I wasn't sure.
It did seem that way. Yeah.
Yeah, right? And then there was the dude who gave him the gun, who was clearly, more, you ever had, earlier we were talking about, the hoodlums in the beginning, you were like, I don't know those kids. And, I don't know people like this dude, but I do know that people like that exist, like people that sabotage and that prey on, and that are like, oh, here you go, here's a gun.
Let's see what he'll do with that.
Let's see what happens with that. Good and well, there's no reason why you should be giving this dude a gun. A baseball bat, maybe. Some advice, perhaps. Just full on give him a gun in a paper bag and then lie about it later.
Right.
That's what I mean. That's those type of people. The fact that he lied about it later and said that he owed him money for something else or whatever the fuck he said was oh, yeah, you one of them type of niggas, And I don't know people like that. As far as his boss was a dick. That was one of the really empathetic moments I had for him too, where I was like, damn, when Arthur was like, what would I do with a sign? Why would I steal a sign?
Right.
And he was just so genuine, yeah, why would I steal that? And he's like, I don't know why the fuck people do half the shit they do. I don't know, but just bring the sign back. Come on, dog.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the one moment where you're like, Arthur's the sane person in the room. What would I do with the sign?
Mm-hmm, exactly.
The fuck? Yeah. Let's see.
I just also have... I'll end with... I also have just... I bristle anytime a work situation is that fucking contentious. Your boss just tells you to eat a dick, basically. I want to burn it down. So I hated the boss, with my entire heart, just for the fact that, you're not even, think that through. You think he really stole the sign? And honestly, I don't fucking know. Did he just break the sign up because that shit wasn't real and he thought it was real? Or, you know what I mean? Who knows, right? But in his mind, he was beaten and the sign was taken. So, I just can't imagine having that conversation and being like, get out of here, suck my dick, leave.
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't someone identify bruises on him? Was it his mom or one of his coworkers? So the beating could have been real.
Oh, yeah, one of his colleagues did.
Okay.
And we saw it.
Yeah.
They were on his back.
They didn't run that back. They didn't run that back like it didn't happen. Yeah, I think I really want people to stop digging too hard. They made a point to show us the shit that Arthur was making up. They made a point to communicate those points. They made to communicate those instances. So yeah, I don't want to just keep doing. Was this real too? Was this fake? Nah, listen, we already know. All right. The detectives, I do want to talk about them real quick because these are some of the smartest detectives in the history of Gotham ever in any portrayal of Gotham detectives, both animated, in books, or movies.
Oh, that's because there's no Batman around yet.
Right.
So,
So these guys have to really
but
solve
they were
crimes.
also pretty stupid.
Did you think they were stupid, or did you think they were just being coy, like trying to play along as they were putting the case together? Because I felt like they thought he was up to no good from the rip.
Oh yeah, for sure. But
Who doesn't?
I mean, they didn't know what we knew, so they couldn't just
Right.
pounce on him.
But they saw him in person, is all I'm saying. I think that's all it takes.
They saw him in person. They saw him do that whole dance down them steps.
Oh, yeah.
They turned around. They knew they were going to see him again. Like, that's the part I was like, why y'all do all of that? You know you going to see his crazy ass again. Running down these steps, chasing him onto the subway, all of that. Like, that was ridiculous, and you know it. So, but I feel like they knew. Mm-hmm. They knew, because when they sat outside the hospital and asked him questions, he didn't have no real answers.
Yeah. That scene with him dancing.
That was the moment where he was like, I don't have time for this. My mom is sick. And walked into the hospital door.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah.
Oh, how did I forget? Too much trauma.
I mean, honestly, guys, did you expect to get a laugh of that magnitude anywhere in the film?
No.
Or definitely not at that
all.
point in the film?
No,
not
at all.
Oh my God.
Not at all. And I think that they did that really well, too, just sprinkling humor throughout. I mean, that was definitely, like, an intentionally humorous moment.
Yeah.
But there were also, like, these quirkiness that Joaquin Phoenix adopted as the Joker,
mm-hmm.
that I was just like, he's fucking crazy. And I would just laugh. You know what I mean? Like, I would just crack up. Okay.
Yo, a lot of his laugh.
Oh, yeah, and his laugh.
Oh.
Did you guys see the part where he was rehearsing for the Murray Franklin show?
Yes.
And there was a mug on the table, and he had drawn on the mug live with Murray Franklin.
I did not notice that. Oh my God.
He wrote with a Sharpie on the mug.
I mean, that's commitment. I don't know what y'all want from this man.
Oh, commitment.
Oh my God.
I mean, have you ever practiced anything that hard in your life?
Did you really want it? If you didn't practice that hard, did you really want it?
I didn't want
no
it.
way. You didn't want it.
That was my problem. I didn't want it enough.
Oh my God.
So, yeah.
Oh God.
All right.
Okay.
So yeah, I feel like they sprinkled a lot of humor throughout, and it was great.
Yes. So that scene where he was dancing down the steps, the music they had him dancing to in the film totally changed how I saw that scene in the trailers. It brought a whole level of excitement to that point. I was like, wait, what? Oh my God. This is hilarious.
What song was it?
Oh, it was some celebration song. They play it at sport events. I can't remember the name of the song. It's like a rallying song. And I was just like, oh shit, this is his.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
That's what's happening in your head right now? Okay. All right.
His
Cool.
dancing was on point too. Like, it would be very ballet-ish.
Uh-huh.
And then he would just start thrusting his hips.
Yeah.
His arms. And I was like, okay, that works too.
That works too.
You got it. You got it. You got it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So his social worker, who does not listen to him, just, she's showing up at work. Her job sucks.
She's just at work, fam.
The city
She's
sucks.
just at work.
I feel like she was like, no, nigga, you not listening to me, okay?
Right.
I told you
Pretty
gotta
much.
bring your journal every week. Right?
Pretty much.
I'm just trying to get my job done, yo. And I'm telling you that they're cutting funding. Like, I'm sorry, they don't care about you, and they don't care about me, too. What about me,
Right.
dog? Like, this is my job, too.
Also, how is it that she's looking through this man's journal and doesn't feel like she needs to alert the authorities?
Alert the police and get a task force from the FBI on this man.
Oh my god.
She legit looked at it. It might as well have said, "I will kill everybody as soon as I get a gun."
Right.
And
Yo,
she's
those
like,
collages in there were
"Yo."
Yo.
I'm like, and she's just like, okay. So you be writing. Okay, you did your work. Sam, he's about to. This is a kill list, and you just don't even. Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Remember
cool.
when he opened that goddamn book on stage when he was doing stand up and that one
Oh, God.
photo of like the woman with her head cut off with the I was like, whoa,
Yes.
my guy.
Like you know, other people can see that right now. Can you tell that part?
Oh my god. Yeah, she was checked out. She was checked out months before.
Yeah.
She knew this layoff was coming.
I did read that she was an actual character in the Marvel Universe. So whatever the name was, the DC Universe.
Yes.
So whatever was on her name tag
Yeah.
was also a character somewhere.
Yeah, her son. I think her son is someone. I could be confusing with someone else, but I think her son is like a currently existing character.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. The Subway trio, the Wall Street guys, these jerks, full dicks.
White mediocrity.
Chet, Chaz, and I can't think of the third one's name. Chet, Chaz, and Paul. They're dorks, man.
Chad.
Yeah, sounds right.
Chad with a D.
Yeah, we can have two chapters. It can be one with a B and one with a Z.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah. Chad.
Yeah. Yeah, they were terrible. They were pieces of shit, man.
Yeah.
And they got, well, okay, I don't want to say they got what they deserved because, I don't want to.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, they were harassing that woman too. Who knows what that would have
They
been?
were
Brock
harassing
Turners.
her.
True.
Just 3 Brock Turners, getting off at a happy hour.
Man. Yeah. Yeah. I was happy.
They were harassing her.
Yeah. I was happy that his laughter broke them off from her. I was happy about that.
Yeah.
And then also she didn't sit there. She walked off because she's like, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, she was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I don't even know why I was on here with a clown and 3 white men to begin with. To not have been alone with these guys.
Right. So yeah, I don't want to say they got what they deserved, but I didn't feel bad when they got killed. Not at all. Didn't feel bad about it. And again, I think this just says something about where this movie put us. We're totally cool with Arthur just gunning people down. Completely. All right. Backstory, lore, accuracy. How helpful was it? I think in this portrayal, none of that mattered. That's something we would normally cover, but I don't think any of that really mattered. This was a clean slate, and we went into the film understanding that this is a completely different take. So it didn't matter.
Yeah.
It was helpful, when they gave us familiar things like Arkham Hospital, eventually becoming Arkham Asylum.
What are we considering the backstory here?
I guess anything that we would know about the Joker, anything, and then also, giving us Thomas and Martha Wayne's death, giving the Batman origin, and I don't think any of that was even necessary. I don't think there was no need for Todd Phillips and Martin Scorsese to tie this to anything else. I think, this just stood alone by itself.
Well, I think, I think that any backstory we had on the Joker is in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally appreciated tying the death of Bruce Wayne's parents into this because I feel like it put a timestamp on it.
Yeah.
And as I saw it about to happen, I was like, oh, shit, they're going to try and make this look like the Joker orchestrated,
Right.
They're going to try and, like, create some other story.
Right.
And they didn't. They were just like, in the midst of these riots, this murder still happened and still happened in this sort of, random-ish way, even though it's not quite,
It wasn't a hit. Right.
And so, yeah, so I appreciate it. I was like, I needed that timestamp.
Okay.
Now, yeah, they could have like given you a newspaper headline or something like that, but I feel like that's very typical, in this universe movies way of delivering news to you that somebody has died and something has happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so I appreciated like seeing that happened on a night where things were kind of like rampant and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So I liked it. I thought that it was like a nice little timestamp, something we kind of needed. It tied it into this story. It still disconnected it from Arthur and the Joker, and I thought it was cool. That's not the question, right? The question is about the backstory.
No.
That part of the backstory.
Yeah. They made it make sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Let's jump into overt theme, which I think we all probably agree on. This is, we're talking about mental illness here. We're talking about how the world treated mental illness then in, the 80s and, relation to how it's, being treated today. Like you said earlier, MJ, like he was just being treated like anyone else that had the label crazy on him. No one was really giving him the type of attention and treatment that he actually needed.
Right. I think that is true today, too. I mean, I think that depending on where you're getting mental health care, and where you are in the world, in the society, where you fall, I think a lot of people are still being treated exactly that same way, which I think is an overt theme of all of these comic book movies. Ain't shit changed. They've been talking about shit since World War II that is so relevant to today that it's like we talk about a lot. We take a lot of steps forward towards progress, and then something happens, and we're taking 8 steps back, and that's just the way of this world. And it's good to highlight that stuff, though. I think that's smart.
Staying within the conversation of mental illness and trauma, we just watched Batman's origin, and we watched his early interaction with Joker in a way that clearly can shape the conversation around Batman also not being of a complete sane and sober mind. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
ever.
Yeah. People like to ignore the fact that Batman does a lot of crazy shit.
Yeah, I mean, the whole vigilante shit is really crazy to begin with. Like, I saw a video a couple years ago that someone had on, like, a talk show of, like, modern-day vigilantes. And the first thing I said was, like, oh, you out of your fucking mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you found somebody, like, running through Portland, like, in a suit at night.
Right.
Telling you random shit like, oh, you can't smoke weed here, or you can't, like, whatever it is. You'll be like, you need to mind your fucking business, dog.
From the rap, if you don't go the fuck here somewhere, what are you talking about?
Right. Like, slow down. You're going over the speed limit. Like, get the fuck out of here, yo.
Your mom's is over the speed limit. Shut up. Fuck out of here. Yeah, we would not.
So yeah, the whole like vigilante shit. There is like something to it that we definitely ignore with Batman because like he's Batman and like oh cool, he's like saving the city.
Yeah.
But like he's also not minding his business and completely going over like police authorities.
He's also locking up the same criminals over and over again. The fuck.
And like at this point, he's part of the problem because they're trying to get back at him.
At this point, he's part of the problem. Terrible. Oh my god. Okay. The plot, did it work for you guys? This is the plot being the origin story, a new take on the Joker. I think we've addressed that already, right? Everyone loved how this played out.
Yeah, I think I just want to add that we have allowed, or we've all now, I think, made space for each Joker to be their own Joker.
Mm-hmm.
But this could also truly serve as any of the Jokers that we've ever seen. This could serve as their origin story.
Yeah,
like, if you take away the timestamp of, like, him being so much older than Bruce and all of that stuff, like, you don't get a villain without some sort of major trauma to that person's life.
Sure.
And even when, you know, you could look at it and be like, well, I dealt with X, Y, and Z. That's way more, you know, like, you don't know how anybody reacts to anything. So, like, all of the trauma that happened in his life as a child and then continues to happen in adulthood, and he's just consistently demeaned, it definitely, like, that moment of him realizing there were other people that felt like him, even if it wasn't the exact same. You know what I mean? Because that was a shit ton of people that had the clown masks on, and, like, he's not alone.
Right.
Number one. Which gave him that immediate confidence of, like, oh, we're about to run this shit.
Right.
Which was accidental. You know what I mean? Like, I think he fumbled into being the leader of anybody. I don't think that was ever something he wanted to do.
Right. And
you know
made
what
that
I mean?
clear
Like,
on Murray's show. He made that clear. Yeah. I'm not into politics.
Oh,
I'm not making a
right.
movement. I'm not here for that. Yeah.
Right. But damn if you didn't do it, right?
Man.
So yeah, like, I think the story is important for a lot of reasons, but I do think that it could serve as any one of those Joker's origins, and it would still fit.
I agree with you 2,000%. I walked out of there feeling like, oh, now I know why we have a Joker. Now I know why.
Right.
That shit made all of the sense. I'm sorry, he was tied to a radiator? Like, what was going, like, what? Like, yeah, it all made sense. Yeah, very, very good point. Very good point with that. In comparison to other Jokers, I was telling some work colleagues that there's no need to compare. I don't think Heath was the proper actor for this portrayal. This for this story. No, like, Heath did what he did. Jack Nicholson did what he did, and Joaquin did what the fuck he did to this. Like, there's no need to compare the Jokers.
Yeah, they're all different Jokers anyway, so that I get the idea of people wanting to be like, well, was it as good as so-and-so? But, like, the stories are completely different. The portrayals are completely different. Like, you know, Heath didn't have to lose 50 pounds and become a completely fucking different person for, right. You know what I mean? Like, right. Well, he did become a different person, but, yeah. Like, this was just much more manic, you know, and in that subtle way that mania is, and we assume that it's all loud and rah-rah, and like Heath's version of, you know, killing homeboy, putting the pencil through his head. Like, you think that's what manic is, and a lot of manic shit is just the calm way he killed his mom, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, they don't need to be compared. They're completely different stories. Yeah. In my opinion.
Did anyone come across any Easter eggs they wanted to talk about? No?
Mine was just that, well, I don't even know if it's really an Easter egg, but that little mug thing I just shared earlier.
That's definitely an Easter egg.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Okay.
So I thought that was amazing. I think, there's a lot of correlation between, like we mentioned, the older movies before. And so I think that if you looked at, like, the notebook that he uses, that is essentially Easter egg for the Taxi Driver movie.
Okay.
There are all of these times where he keeps, like, pulling his mouth into a smile and sort of forcing a smile in the same way that he does with Bruce Wayne. And, some people have tied that to, like, Easter eggs with, like, other mime movies and things like that. And there's a little Charlie Chaplin part that we get with that movie.
Yeah.
That all the rich folks are watching in the theater. And I think that, whatever that actual movie is about, represents, like, industrialism and, being kind of, like, tossed into a machine. And even when Charlie Chaplin was just, like, roller skating on that platform with there being no banister there, and, like, that kind of representing Arthur being, like, just completely, like, off the rails, like, legit,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
about to go over the edge. So I think there's a bunch of Easter eggs that, like, have kind of been pointed out for me, but none that I was like, I guess the one that I was the Notebook. Like, after seeing his Notebook a couple of times and, like, starting to think of Taxi Driver, I was like,
Yeah.
I wonder if
Tracks.
that's intentional. Yeah.
I don't have a whole bunch of Easter eggs. The one thing that I noticed that was like, oh, this must be like a really big deal, is anytime I see the Waynes being killed, there's always mention or something with the string of pearls.
Yes.
And
yes.
Immediately I was like, damn, in here too?
Right.
Like, that is such an important part, apparently, that in every portrayal that comes up. So super easy one, but one nonetheless, in my opinion.
I was excited. I was excited when the pearls broke. I was like, oh, man, okay, cool. We're just locking it in with everything else. Yeah. All right, so before we jump into rewatchability and rating it, there was a lot of negative fanfare around the film. There were concerns that this movie might incite violence amongst the ever so volatile white male that is out here picking up arms and feeling justified and
already doing a bunch of violent shit.
A bunch of violent shit. They were saying it's a rallying, could have been taken as a rallying cry to the incel population.
The what?
Yes, I'm so glad you said the what. I feel like this creates an opportunity for MJ to continue educating the world on what it is, these incels. She brought me into the knowledge, B. And now that I know what they are.
Tell me what it is, then you gotta tell me how you know about this.
Boom.
Okay, so an incel is an involuntarily celibate person. It is not necessarily male, but it is mostly male. But there are women incels. My focus has really only been on men incels, so I'm going to stick with that. And in this case, we're talking about a dude. So it's that isolated loner, the stereotypical lives with his mom, doesn't really have a bunch of friends, can't get a girl. The problem is all of that angst and desire for that turns into this aggrievement and rage definitely, but also this entitlement of where's my woman? You know what I mean? And so they're not only mad at women for not being interested in them, they're also mad at good-looking men because they think that good-looking men are, taking all the women, obviously. but they're also, their shit's so natural, you know, like incel will be like, dude, how do you do it? And the guy, you know, fine dude will be like, oh, just be yourself. And that's like, right? Right? Like they're like, it's not your personality, dude. It's that you're, you know, you're super fine, you have muscles, or you're rich, or whatever the situation is. It's never gonna just be that you've got this great personality.
Right.
So yeah, it turns into this really destructive, and you nailed it. It's rage. So there are multiple cases of mass killings that have happened by dudes that self-identified as an incel. So back in this day, in the 80s, that wasn't a term. And sure, I'm sure that person existed and that mindset existed, but there wasn't a name for it. There wasn't a major community. Again, those are people that feel isolated and nobody would understand them. With the internet, you have people, you know, in message boards that you can all of a sudden feel comfortable. You've got that separation of the screen. You can say things like, I've never had sex and I want to kill every woman that walks past me and blah, blah, blah. And the other dude is going to be like, dude, I feel exactly the same way. So now there are all these incel communities of people online. How do I know this? Because I study white mediocrity. For the Burn and Bird podcast we were talking about something which led me down a rabbit hole of there's a man named Jordan Peterson who claims to be a scholar, and he's a complete and total fucking idiot.
Yep.
But he has this idea of enforced monogamy, and enforced monogamy or forced monogamy. So the government should basically give men a wife so that they can live a traditional life. And that's how the world really is supposed to work. And if only they gave these men wives, there wouldn't be the rage in the world that there is.
Crazy.
Are you finished?
I mean, basically.
All right, thanks for listening to a podcast that has no name. I am Afro. That was Morgan. There's also Am and Castro. I legit have nothing else to say. I'm just like...
Wild, right? Wild. They think the government should award them a woman.
He didn't say award.
Well,
they give them.
I mean, to be fair, award is not the word they use, but yeah.
Right? I'm like, that is shit. Whoa, this is... Wow.
Yeah, so that's why I was making the point of calling one of them Chad with a D, because that's what they call dudes. The incels call good-looking men Chads and good-looking women Stacys. And because, of course, right, Chad and Stacey.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, this is the appropriate reaction in all honesty.
Yeah.
So yes, there are many articles right now saying this is a movie that sort of puts that mindset on a pedestal a little bit, I guess. Makes him the hero. At the end, you know, you've got all these people cheering for you, and you've now got a mob that will listen to your words. And
just incite violence. Okay.
Right, right, and incite violence. So, to be real clear, there are two particular dudes that within the incel community that they get all the love for, and that they both did some wild shit. Like one dude shot up, oh crap, was it in Santa Barbara? I can't remember now. Somewhere in California.
The Garlic Festival?
No, it was not that. This was in like 2014. But that wouldn't make sense.
I'm like, who would shoot a garlic festival?
Right.
So now I know.
Right. And then another person took their car and just like ran into people all over the place. And both of them had these manifestos of like, I'm an incel and no women will talk to me and I'm a virgin and my life is horrible and awful. And they were all or not all, but both of them were in their early 20s. Like,
Wow.
you have so much more life to live.
Right.
But you also just like, this is not to try and normalize that thought, but my idea is that it's so different growing up now. And if you grew up with the internet your entire life and that's how you actually talk to people, and you don't have the normalization of in-person talking and conversation and banter and shit, like, and if you're already a little socially awkward, and then on top of that, you really don't know how to do that part, like, that's got to be a really rough go. And, like, it's got to be hard. But that internalized hatred and then hatred for other people that just spins out and turns into this violent shit. So, sorry, I get it. I get why they're giving that assessment. And I think for me, it is always a tricky point when it comes to art. Like, I feel like there's a responsibility to show it, right? Because how else would you know that it exists for some people?
Right.
And then
and censorship, right? Because it's like, you want.
Right. And then there's some responsibility to, whoever's making that art to not normalize or heroize that action. I think in this instance, what they're getting at is that you are made to empathize with Arthur so much that you do want him to get his way. And in his way is murder for a lot of people.
Another incident that happened in relation to Batman Joker.
I'm sorry, I just need to thank you, Morgan. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
I feel like we all need to thank Morgan. Like,
thank you. But yes, there was another incident that happened. I'm sure you guys probably remember this. It was a shooting in a movie theater. I believe it. Dude.
In Colorado.
Yeah, he actually put the Joker face paint on and dyed his hair green, and so that also got brought up too. Like, hey man, there's a whole bunch of stuff that can just happen if this movie just comes out. And when we saw the movie, it was opening weekend. It was a Saturday, early show, 12:30 show. There wasn't that many people in the theater.
This was like the amount of people that are there to see a Wes Anderson movie in one of the theaters that is now, the movie's $2 and it's about to leave that theater.
Yeah.
Like, nobody was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the movie made $93 million opening weekend.
Same. Yeah. So I was really shocked to hear those numbers as well, because I felt like nobody was in the theater when we were seeing it. Like, it was like, I mean, there were people there, but it was not like enough.
It wasn't opening night.
Right.
No, it wasn't. And I mean, we did like a Saturday matinee because, we babysitter and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, let's just go in the afternoon. But yeah, I didn't see those numbers. I didn't even see like lines of people when we left, and it was like a little later in the day.
Right.
Right.
I didn't feel like that kind of movie. But I do feel like a lot of people, like we, made jokes about Castro, but I do think a lot of people kind of like have that feeling that like, oh, this is just another, and Joker's not really even my favorite, and I don't really even care, and Joaquin Phoenix is weird, and you know what I mean? I think it's a lot of that, and I think that as people are kind of like going to start talking about it, like, yo, this was incredible, I think it's going to make more and more money.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we'll see.
Yeah.
People lined up for it and all that good stuff.
I'm ready to continue to experience this in whatever they do. Like, if they release a director's cut, I'm ready to, like, so going into the rewatchability discussion. Yes, I could watch this a couple times. I could have a copy of this at home. It's like you said, it's a great character study. I love it. I definitely could watch this again. I'm going to look for the mug.
Yeah.
I'm going to look for the mug the next time I watch it.
Yeah, they should do that for the merch. They should definitely do the.
Like, I should fucking do that for the merch. Like,
there
that.
you go. Yeah, like, there you go. The handwritten, hell yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, straight up. Because it really is like he just took a Sharpie and wrote live with Murray Franklin. I'm like, that's not even like the name of the movie or anything. Like, I don't even know if I would get sued for that. You know,
Right.
like,
Right.
Oh my God.
Might be good. You might be good.
Might be good,
might be
fam.
good. Write it on a T-shirt. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so, but yeah, I agree with the rewatchability. I would definitely watch it again. Like, I mean, it's a movie, and it's not a lot of movies I say this about, but I would probably even pay to see it in the theater again.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's
Yeah.
good. And I think the last time I did that was maybe like Us and Black Panther that I saw twice in the theater.
Yeah.
You know, not so much intentionally as like, oh, I just went with a different group of people, and you know, they wanted to see the movie, so
see it twice, right?
But I wanted to see it too. It wasn't like I was advocating for something else. Like, oh, I already saw that, so let's see something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, rewatchability is definitely there for me.
MJ?
Agreed. This is definitely this is my kind of movie.
Yeah.
Super here for this Arthur. I think Joaquin Phoenix has always been incredible.
Yeah.
He's definitely
now, brother.
I was gonna say he's definitely a weird dude in real life, and I think that maybe that sours some people's thoughts of him. But like, give me a portrayal he's done a bad job at.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
give it.
Can't really.
Tell me when he was bad in a movie.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was even this like action-ish movie that came out, and I've never seen him doing any sort of action. Did y'all see that? It was like a year or two ago. And
definitely not.
Kind of like Liam Neeson sort of thing.
Really?
Saving a girl who was like caught up in some like, sex trafficking kind of stuff.
Always.
I mean, he didn't do a whole bunch of action. It was really more of like him shooting and like, trying to, get to the bottom of what was going on. So he wasn't like full on Liam Neeson, but I mean Liam Neeson in like the story of like Taken. It was like similar to that. Not that his child was taken, but just the sex trafficking part. And he killed that shit too. I was like, wow. Like, I was really surprised about it. I gotta find it. I'll send you guys a link to it.
Was it called Lou? I'm on IMDb now.
Lou?
Yeah. Was that it? No?
Maybe. That doesn't sound...
Okay. So
what is it?
You said last year you had Lou. He had Mary Magdalene. That would be it. And Don't Worry. No, these don't look like
I think it's that.
Don't Worry. Okay. Yeah, when you said action for him, the last thing I could think of was a Gladiator. Like.
Yeah, but even in that, he wasn't doing no action, right?
Yeah, he wasn't doing no major action. Yeah.
Right. And it's not major action. He's not, like I said, he's not like, he ain't doing no kicks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's not really getting into like crazy gunfights, but he's definitely like trying to get to the bottom of some shit, and there are guns involved at some point.
Seeing him in Her, kind of like
he
that.
Killed that.
Yeah, that closed it for me. I was like, from here on out, I'm down for wherever this guy gets involved in, because I remember that was his return to cinema after his little break from Hollywood. Yeah. And for him to come back and then hit us with Her, I was like, yo, what?
Yeah.
Let's go, Joaquin. I'm here for it.
Yeah, and what's her name? Sexy ass voice, man. I can do her voice any day of the week.
Oh,
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, she killed that.
Hell yeah.
Man.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
And she's the snake in
Jungle
the
Book.
movie with Mowgli.
Yeah. Jungle Book.
Oh, I can't. Jungle Book. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, there's all these movies where I'm like, oh yes, I don't even see you. I just want to hear your voice.
I just want to hear your voice, babe.
Just talk, ScarJo.
Just want to hear it.
Just talk to me, babe. All right. So let's rate this thing. There's three of us. No names. What do you guys give it?
This, for me, is my highest no name.
Nice.
I'm going to give it all my no names. I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Because from the moment that the movie started to play, I liked every single thing I saw. Like, I liked the font that they used for
Yeah.
fucking,
Yeah.
they used this old school Warner Brothers logo, and it began from the 80s. You know,
Mm-hmm.
The cinematography, beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, when we were going through the character list, even like the gun, like we didn't even really break down the gun, but for me, the gun became its own character because it kept just jumping out there, like all these last moments.
Like it had lines.
Yeah.
My turn.
Remember
My turn to talk,
when
guys.
he was fucking practicing on the couch for the Murray Franklin show, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Murray," and then he just like whips out the fucking gun, just like in the hospital, just
Right.
like so. Like the way that they like just like created characters out of all of these things, like the gun, the city, like we had to break up Arthur Fleck and Joker because that was like still inept. That was two different things. Joaquin's performance was insane. It was cast perfectly. Like even Brian Tyree, his part was so small, but it was perfect.
Yeah, it was.
It was.
Absolutely perfect for him. You know, like
Yeah, it was.
just everything. Just like for me,
He got
like,
that what the fuck face down.
Yeah, he
that what the
does.
fuck? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That-
it wasn't
that
too
lip
much.
drops.
It wasn't over the top. You
Right.
know, like, so it was just, and it ended for me on a question mark. I didn't want a pretty bow. I didn't want it to go into some action. I didn't want to see no actual Batman. I didn't want no fast forward to 20 years later. I didn't want to that something else that there might be another movie. Like, I didn't want any of that. And so all the questions around it, and you know, being able to have like a real life conversation of like, where did reality and fantasy, you know, start and end for him in the movie. And like you mentioned, he's like this fucked up ass narrator, this unreliable narrator, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, we can kind of go with our intuition because we were like, oh, okay, like Zazie or Sophie, like that shit wouldn't happen. And then we found out it didn't happen. It's like, okay, cool. Also, like, I don't think somebody would come at that point in his Joker career, come and like slam a car into the police car and save him out of it and pull him on top and like I don't think that part is real. So we can like make these legit arguments about like instinctually I don't feel like that was reality and blah, you know. But there's still no like super definitive answers. And I always hate when movies are like, you have this perfectly fine movie, and then they want to tie a love interest in, and then make it this love story. And so when Sophie became involved, it was like, oh, okay, great. Now she represents this little bit of hope that he has, and he's going to lose her, and blah, blah, blah. And it was like, no, that shit never really happened to me. And so all those things that, like, I hate about movies that I still be like, okay, they put a pretty bow on it at the end. All right, he got the girl, and, like, there's a romance, and like I believe in love. You know, you just like accept it. Like none of those things became like this major part of this movie that I had to accept and tolerate and just like be okay with. So for me, dead on. That I loved it.
With
all the no names.
With especially with the Sophie situation. With that switch to let us know, hey guys, you're right. This would never play out that way. It really made me trust, not that it was a fragile relationship, but it makes you trust the writing. It really makes you trust the entire story. Like, okay, all right. Yeah, it wasn't just me. They would never be in a relationship. That was weird. Her coming into the apartment and being scared that he's there, that's the reaction you're supposed to have to this guy. He's a scary dude. He's a scary dude from down the hall. No names, I'm totally in. It gets the highest ranking, full no name. Again, it's a standalone. I think it can remain a standalone. I'm totally fine with that. I would, for a second, let me ask y'all this. Real quick. Could you have imagined that here we are, 2019, going into 2020, that some of the most successful films are these superhero genre films, and that there is a huge demand for them? Like, we've never had this much superhero action happening at once. And these are the top films popping off right now.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense to me because, like, all y'all superhero nerds grew up, and now y'all buy movie tickets.
Exactly.
we get to make
It
the
just had
movies
to
we
age
want.
with you.
Yeah, it had to age with you and like become this adult version. So from like a business standpoint, it makes perfect sense to me, because like my mom would not have been one to go out and pay for these superhero movies of her age. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that wouldn't have worked with my mother's generation. So
Right.
for us being like the adults and like, you know, the folks that are like a couple years behind us, yeah, it makes perfect sense to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you hear Scorsese's critique of the Marvel movies?
No.
I didn't hear about it
Marvel?
when he said it. I heard about it when Samuel L. Jackson responded. So Scorsese, you know, in talking about
God.
Joker, was like, yeah, well, you know, this is a film. You know, the rest of these comic book movies, these Marvel movies, that's not real cinema. So then,
Oh, yikes.
yeah. So then Samuel L. Jackson responded, was like, hey, everybody doesn't like all his movies either. So, you know, it's cool. Everybody can have an opinion. Okay.
I mean, yeah, everybody can have an opinion.
That's all.
I think it's weird to do the it's not real kind of thing
Yeah.
simply because it's like uses CGI or something. Like there's
Right.
yeah, you know?
Yeah.
Like for me, I'm like, grow the fuck up.
Yeah.
If that's
Yeah.
really your thought, like because you make movies that are different and that's a real movie, like get the
Right.
fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Is rap music not real music to you, Martin? Are we still there? Is he still
Right.
going with
Like
that?
that's you're a person that's in that category to
Right.
me if you say things like, "Oh, but that's not a real film." Oh,
Yeah.
fuck out of here. It's making real film money.
Hello.
You know what I mean? Like
Hello.
Mhm.
So no names.
I
What do you
also
give
just
it?
don't
Oh,
like
right.
it when directors critique in that way.
yeah. Not a
When
fan.
Spike Lee gets all mad at Quentin Tarantino. It's like, come on, Spike, relax. You know, like,
Yeah.
I get it. But, like, you know, I don't know. It's not really, like, the move to make.
No.
Right.
No.
That's what it is. It's not the move to make.
Yeah, like, share that shit over drinks with your homies.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Like, it just makes
You sound
look
bitter
bad.
instead.
Yeah, and
Right.
bitter.
Yeah.
Exactly. It just makes you look bad bitter.
Right. You
Yeah.
just popped off a really successful film that was a supervillain film. So don't be bitter. Yeah.
Yep.
Let everybody win. MJ, no names. What do you give it?
I give it all the no names. This checked all the boxes for me. I mean, it gave me an indie movie with a supervillain twist. Like, yep, that's what I want.
Yeah.
I'm always here to better understand people. That's what I think that's a thing for me. And I felt like we really got an understanding of why the Joker is who he is. And,
human.
yeah, I mean, you kind of lose sight of that when, you know, the portrayals are, like I said, like that scene when Heath Ledger, like, knocks old boy's head into the pencil is, like, one of my favorite parts of that movie, but it's also like, you really fucking nuts. Like, you don't give a shit about nothing.
Right.
So you don't, it like kind of dehumanizes them because who the fuck can do that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And now, you know, like, yeah, getting any sort of origin, I love that. So I'm super here for it. All the no names.
Well, you got it. You heard it, folks. Full no names all the way around. Top rated flick. If you're listening to this and you haven't seen it, you're weird, but thank you for listening.
Shame on you.
We love that you love us so much that you just want to hear us talk
Yikes.
about things you haven't experienced
Yikes.
yet. Yikes. But now you know to go see it. Go see it. And
Go spend that bread.
Yeah. And if you've seen it, watch it again with us. We're all going to go watch it again at some point. And, you know, hit us in the comments.
For sure.
All right. Catch y'all next time.
Bye.
Peace.
Peace.
Excellent. You're still here. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of A Podcast Has No Name. If this is your first time checking us out, please subscribe. We are available on Google Play, Apple Music, Spotify, and pretty much everywhere else you listen to podcasts. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Podcast Has No Name. Deuces.
Subscribe, please, please, please. Click and comment.